I'm sorry if there's any background noise. My kids fill in the bath, so.
Listen, we are all moms, and the last thing you need to do is apologize for being
There you go.
All right, Jamie. You're gonna unmute.
Well, guys, thank you for spending your lunch hour. We're all sort of, if you're like me, my lunch hour is usually about 2 hours long. So I do love food. I like to eat, and that's part of the reason why I'm here. But listen, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what we do, why we do it. And you're going to hear in a bit my story. The computer has a brain of its own, so give me 1 second. See, listen, if even I can manage computers, anybody can. Got it? All right, so you're going to hear my story in a little bit, but I'm going to tell you this. If it's not simple, I'm not going to do it. I mean, we are all wearing a lot of hats in life. We are moms. We're in relationships. Some of us are working. If we're not working outside of the home, we're certainly working in the home. We are doing a lot. And actually, the word busy comes to mind. Raise your hand if you're busy in life. Yeah, actually, every person I talk to will look at me with when I say, hey, are you busy? And I actually believe busy is becoming a disease. So I'm really part of an effort to really do simple better. And if you take a look here, all of these smiling, shiny, happy people, it's life done simple, life done well. Health used to be a lot easier. I mean, I remember growing up and my grandparents had the right message. Get outside and play, get your vitamin D. Nowadays, kids don't do that. They stay inside and play video games. And now we have to fortify them with vitamin D supplements because they're not getting outside and moving. Childhood obesity is an alarming rate globally, so much so that what used to be called type 2 adult onset diabetes is now, they've since dropped the term adult because children at younger ages are being diagnosed. You're thinking, Jamie, gosh, this is such a positive message. I promise there is light at the end of the tunnel. But I am a realist, and I am going to point out the facts. If my computer will let me. You know, these are simple things. Kids would move, we would sleep, we would hydrate, and we actually used to eat food that was real food, not what we see today lining the grocery store shelves. Aisles 4, 5, 6 of your local market are processed, prepared, packaged, and preserved foods. Food with no life, food with no vitality. So how in the world can we expect to live a vibrant, vital life if the very fuel we're putting in has a shelf life of basically forever? Because this is the trend. Fast food. I mean, there is, at least in Dallas, there is a fast food restaurant on every street corner. Kids, my own included, love the video game. I've had to become the Nazi in our house of really mandating how much time is allocated to screen time. This thing right here, this Diet Coke, truth be told, I used to drink 3 or 4. We have a place called Sonic here in Texas. Don't know if they have that in Canada. But this big of Diet Coke, I would drink 4 of those a day for years. And take a look at this guy on the right. How many of you feel like him? I find, particularly as moms, we work from 8 to faint. We wake up tired. We spend all day working our rear ends off. We go to bed tired, only to wash, rinse, repeat day after day. Something has to give, and let me tell you, it's got to be simple. So the question I have for each of you, whether you are a member of our team who has caught on to the vision, caught on to the mission, and wants to be a part of this, or you're curious about the product, the very first question that I ask is, how are you taking care of you? And typically, I get the deer in headlights response back. Because we don't. We put ourselves at the very bottom of the totem pole. Today, we're going to talk about eating real food. We're going to talk about movement and exercise. We're going to talk about hydration. We're going to talk about sleeping. But I believe that the key fundamental part of self-care is rooted in what we put into our bodies first. And then we can go about the business of opening up the other avenues of health that include mental, social, emotional, and spiritual healths, combined together to create a total wellness. See, it's funny to me. I see people going to the gym and working out 6-7 hours a day, multiple times a day, and then they go eat a hamburger because they think that working out is going to balance that. Or they eat well, but then go to a high stress, high pressure job. Listen, if you want total wellness, It is a balance in several areas. It's not limited to just one area. And that's really what our culture and our community represents. But here's the fact of the reality. Whether you live in the United States, whether you live in Germany, Canada, wherever country you live in, these two things are happening. Environmental toxins are increasing. Several years ago, I remember watching the movie Erin Brockovich and thinking, oh, it just happens in California, the west side of the country. The reality is, just 2 weeks ago, we received notice in our local town, we're just north of Dallas, that our water is polluted and toxic. And Erin Brockovich is actually in our town, trying to stir up a whole movement to get the cleaner water here. We have higher incidence of childhood pediatric cancer in the area that I live in, and it's because of the water we're drinking. We cannot turn a blind eye to the fact that the rock we live on is air polluted, water polluted, our soil is contaminated, which affects our eating, and it's impacting us. I recently read an article that the umbilical cord of a newborn baby has more than 250 different toxins in the umbilical cord alone. So these things are waging war on our immune systems every single day. And here's the other reality. Food quality is decreasing. Why? There are so many people on this planet that we cannot produce food at a rate fast enough to supply food to people. And so what scientists and farmers have come up with is the idea of creating mass quantities of food and also giving them a shelf life of forever so that the food they do produce doesn't rot too quickly. But we've got it backwards. We should be eating foods that rot and sprout because those are the foods that have vitality in life, that nourish our cells and nourish our bodies. But because of this imbalance, we are eating, and you can see it here, foods with preservatives, flavor enhancers, pesticides. These things act against our bodies. And they act out differently in different human beings. 100 years ago, there was no such thing as celiac disease. But now it's everywhere. Every other family I talk to has some sort of food allergy. Their child has eczema. And the rise of learning challenges has actually increased more than 400% in the last decade. Guys, there's something going on here. And chances are it's impacting your home or someone you know and love. So the term I want you to walk away with today from an educational standpoint that I didn't learn until my early 30s was oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is actually a good thing that occurs in the body. We have oxidative stress from sleeping, from exercising, from eating, from moving, from living. If you think about a car, for example, the car produces a byproduct called exhaust. Well, the very thing happens in our own body. Every little movement, breathing, everything, metabolism, everything creates oxidative stress. And it's actually a good sign, except when it is in excess. If you have too much of it, it starts to work against you. Look at this woman in the picture. Physical, obvious, outside evidence of oxidative stress. Oxidative stress produces something called free radicals. These free radicals, their main job is to destroy our cells. They attack our cells hundreds upon thousands of times per day and decreases our cellular integrity. Look here, 10,000 times a day. And if you understand what's happening with the apple, one side of the apple has been treated with lemon juice. It's produce. It's from a plant. It's protected the apple. The other side is left untreated. It browns, it ages, it becomes diseased. That's exactly what happens to the human body when we don't eat enough plants, because plants are the only naturally occurring thing on the planet that house the term antioxidants. Now you'll hear cereals fortified with antioxidants, milk fortified, but that's not in its true raw natural state. You have to understand, if it's been added somehow, it's been mismanaged, it's been altered. Mother Nature has what we need. It has our protective shield. And antioxidants go in the body, go to the level of DNA, and neutralize oxidative stress. Think of it as if it's your army against damage. That makes sense. So the reality, folks, is that even though your doctor, physician, nutritionist, dietitian, you hear the messages every day, eat the color of the rainbow, eat a lot of servings. For me, for years, that went in one ear and out the other. I was too exhausted. I didn't have the time. My kids weren't interested, so I didn't eat this way. But it's not so much that fruits and vegetables are good for you. It's so good for you, they can save your life. And if you're paying attention to the documentaries that are coming out, Sick, Fat, Nearly Dead, Forks Over Knives, There's fundamental truth found in the fact that if you eat a diet rich in plants, you can go about the business of letting your body heal. Do what it's supposed to do, but we don't eat real food anymore. So what do? We'll provide a solution here in a minute. Some people say, well, I don't eat well enough, so I'm going to get a multi. And that's how I was trained. I had tons of vitamins sitting on my counters because that's the only thing I knew how to do. That's what doctors told me to do, so I did it. Never helped me. In fact, research at best is showing mixed results about vitamin supplementation, even showing that mega doses of anything are actually harmful to the body. So I'm going to show you and compare with you the difference between whole foods and a vitamin pill. So think about your typical vitamin pill. It has been created in a laboratory, genetically created, genetically designed, and usually has between 26 to 45 different isolated nutrients, vitamin A, D, E, K, vitamin B12, B6, B3, you get the idea. If you look at an apple, what you see on the right, and you can barely read it, is one sheet of about 10. An apple houses more than 10,000 micronutrients, phytochemicals, antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals naturally occurring from the earth. And the beautiful part about this is that all of them working together synergistically is what our body needs. Who is to decide for me the 26 on this list that my body needs, or the 26 that your body needs? I don't know. Have scientists gotten it right yet? If so, then why aren't vitamins helping more and more people? The reality is, if we're not eating enough real food and we go to vitamins, doesn't it reason to make sense that we should go about the business of putting real food back in our diet first? But it's hard, folks. And here's why it's hard. The food today has been so mass produced, like I mentioned to you, that even eating a diet rich in produce today doesn't give you near the nutritional value that it did years and years ago. I read that today, in this day and age, in order to get the right nutrient content of a single orange of 100 years ago, you have to eat 8, the equivalence of 8, just to get that same nutrient content. And it's pretty frightening. The FDA recommends that we eat between 7 to 13 servings of raw produce per day. I would argue that's higher given all the toxicity, all the stress, all the oxidative stress that goes on. And think about it. If the quality of our food isn't there, gosh, that's alarming. So what do? Obviously, I pointed out to you that there's a challenge with vitamin supplementation. I do believe there's a time and a place for it, but I don't believe that should be our first outlet. I believe in whole food nutrition, and I'll share with you why in a minute, but take a look here. Are these foods that you are consuming every single day? Are these foods here foods that your child is consuming every day? I mean, I'll be candid. I didn't realize that parsley was something that you ate. I thought it was a plate garnish at fancy restaurants. And to be very honest, elderberry is the hot button during cold and flu season because elderberry is known to be one of the greatest antivirals on the planet. But you know what? My children have been eating elderberry 365 days a year, year after year after year. And in a minute, you'll hear a little bit about our wellness report. So this is my crew, my husband, my stepdaughter, Ashlyn, and my 2 sons. This picture's a little bit old. My boys are now 9 and 11. But when they were little, we were a very, very sick family. And I was the problem. I was an athlete growing up, played Division I college soccer. Talk about oxidative stress. My body was full of it. And here's how it showed up in me. Chronic lower back pain, acne, allergies, chronic sinus infections, injuries that would not heal over time. And at the ripe age of 32, I landed in the ER with a diagnosis of degenerative disc disease because of an old soccer injury that would not heal. I was not giving my body the foods that it needed to heal. And so my body quit. Said enough's enough, James. And so I went the traditional medical route, steroid neck injections, anti-inflammatories. There's that word, inflammation. Inflammation is the root of all disease processes, whether it's cancer, a cold, degenerative disease, learning behavior. Inflammation is the root of all disease processes. And so I was full of it. I was full of inflammation. I was a ball of fire. And guess what? What do moms do? We pass our habits to our kids. And both of my boys were on 4 different types of prescription medication for allergies and potential asthma. I remember having to sit both of my boys in a high chair and put a mask on their face, and they struggled and hated it. So I would have to wave a wand of steroids underneath their noses just so that they can open up their airways. They suffered RSV, bronchiolitis, ear infections. We were some of the best patients in our pediatrician's office. And our first pediatrician was okay with handing us a script, was okay with putting a Band-Aid, practicing sick care. Well, as a mom, never questions a mother's intuition. We switched pediatricians to one that got it right. She was interested in going to the root of the problem and investigating how we solve this. So, because I was always sick, we went into her office one day, and I'd given my kids strep throat on Christmas Eve, and she said to me, what gives? What is going on in your family? She said, talk to me about your nutrition. That is the first time in my entire life, even as a Division I collegiate athlete, that anyone has ever stopped and asked me what my nutrition was like. And I told her. And she said, wow, you guys need some help. It was very humbling, but she had the courageous compassion to share Juice Plus with our family 8.5 years ago. We have been eating Juice Plus day in and day out, flooding our body with whole food nutrition day in and day out for 8.5 years. And let me tell you this, if you are looking for a quick fix to health, this is not it. Nothing in life that is worth change happens overnight or in 10 days or in 24 days. Even though the messages of health that are being touted right now are lose weight this way or do this fast, Mother Nature deserves time to do what it's supposed to do. But I'm going to tell you, it's the longest lasting, most beneficial way to make lifelong change is to eat real food and get your family on a trajectory to get the crap out and put the good stuff in. And so I'm here to tell you today that as much struggle as we went through, and it was hard, folks. My kids didn't sleep. We were always in the doctor, and I felt like a failure as a mother. What changes we have developed over time have ultimately changed the trajectory of our health. My boys are not asthmatic as they predicted. In fact, they're on zero medication right now. They have probably been sick twice in 8.5 years. Now, the absence of illness does not determine health, but I'm going to tell you the other thing that my kids do is they have an awareness and respect for food that I never had growing up. So this is what we do. I eat the Juice Plus capsules. I didn't start on the capsules. I started on the chews because that was easy, and that's what I would comply. They're the same plant powders. The only difference is the capsules house a digestive enzyme and a probiotic, but I tell people, eat the Juice Plus in the manner which you will comply. I've also added the Omega, the recently launched plant-based Omega, because it helps with inflammation, cardiovascular benefit, and brain health. Brain health. And these Juice Plus shakes, here's why they're so great for you. Everything we do is plant-based. Low glycemic load to stabilize your blood sugar. Do you know that the reason why people crash on diets or people snack or people overeat is because it has to do with your glycemic load, your spike in blood sugar, your drop in blood sugar. Juice Plus Complete Shakes are full of great produce that balance your blood sugar, great for diabetics. Vegan, non-GMO, gluten and dairy-free, and everything, like I said, is plant-based. Between the capsules and the Complete, our family is eating 45 different plants every single day. Every day. Color, variety, and serving. That's the key. So what makes us unique to everything else out there? Look, we carry a nutrition label, not a supplement label. This is food, concentrated food. When someone says to me, Jamie, how are your vitamins? I cringe. We are not a vitamin. We are like the juice bar down the street that costs about $10 a drink. We're that, but better at a fraction of the cost. Do you know that when we juice our produce in Juice Plus, we juice everything from the seed to the rind to the skin? An orange, for example, 80% of the nutrition is found in the rind. I don't know about you, but I don't eat the orange rind. It's in Juice Plus. We are not only the best produce, better than organic produce, we're also have the certification and the clinical research that backs up who we are and what we do in the body. Take a look. Some of the best institutions globally have studied our product. They don't have to, but they're curious about what plants are doing, and they put their name on a research study, and they put their credibility on the line to take a look at what Juice Plus is doing. the likes of MD Anderson Cancer Center, Nemours Children's Hospital, one of the best children's hospitals in the world, Yale University School of Medicine. I mean, people, you are the company you keep. I would dare you to go and find another supplement or whole food that has even one. In fact, most pharmaceuticals don't even have 2 research studies. We have 37 and more on the way. We are the most thoroughly researched product in the world. And this is what it shows that Juice Plus does. Most of our research shows that it improves cardiovascular wellness. You guys can read, protects DNA. I mean, that's the future. DNA is not your destiny. Just because mom and dad had a heart attack or cancer does not mean you necessarily have it. You know, genetics is the loaded gun. Lifestyle is what pulls the trigger. And Juice Plus is a key component to our family's ability to fight and increase our lifestyle. And here's what happens. Our company offers children ages 4 and older free product for 4 years as part of the Children's Health Study. Why? Because we get it. We understand this countries globally need help. And we start with our children, train them up well so that we don't have to fix the broken man. Take a look at some of the research studies and the findings from our nearly 1 million families that are eating Juice Plus for free. I love this. 71% were consuming less fast foods and soft drinks. That's a big deal. But I love this. 96% of the participants in the study were reaping a positive benefit of some kind. I mean, really? To date, we've given away more than $400 million worth of free product to children. I don't know many companies that have done that. Like I mentioned, the omegas, full spectrum. You are getting plants from across the globe that go to the level of DNA and repair and restore. And if you're interested in a jumpstart program, we offer what's called the Shred 10. It's a whole food-based reset, restart, permission for mom to take care of her, permission for dad, meal prepping, coaching, recipe guides. It's all there for you if you feel you want the added addition of a complete program. And the reason why we're different than a diet, have you ever studied the word diet? The first 3 letters are die. Well, understanding that our bodies hold on to these toxicity, and it makes it hard for us to lose weight, even if we are interested in calorie restriction or over-exercising. What our Shred 10 does is it helps us naturally, effectively go through the detoxification process and remove inflammation. I've done several shreds, and it reminds me of how good it feels to feel good. And if you're interested in growing your own produce, our final product is a tower garden. Our family owns 2. We did a little experiment last summer. We grew a lot of cucumbers. We bought some from the store and we compared the 2. Guys, the taste and the look of the tower garden cucumbers blew my hair back. This is growing produce on your back patio with no soil, no contaminants. This basically is gardening for idiots because I kill plastic plants. So if I can do it, most people can. Our tower is awesome, and we just launched a tower community in my son's local school to teach children where food come from. They don't know, but when they're part of the process, they get involved and they start eating what they grow. So this is what our community offers you. Outside of this incredible product, the foundation of your health, the one simple step you can take every day, you will have a Juice Plus coach along this journey. And we are absolutely obsessed with taking care of you. That's what we do. We share our story to improve yours. We offer free cookbooks, kids programs, the Shred 10, Facebook support groups, accountability. This is like you are walking into a program that costs thousands of dollars, but yet it doesn't. I want to share with you also that we have an upcoming event. If you know anyone that is an athlete, whether you're a 5K, couch to 5K, an elite athlete, or just like to move, we have an upcoming online event on April 30th that is geared towards the heart of athletes and how to work on performance, repair, and recovery. So mark your calendars and share this message with a few people. It matters. It did for me, and it did for those that are on this call. And so we invite you to join us. You're saying, okay, Jamie, this all sounds fabulous. This must cost so much money. Reality is it doesn't. I love that nothing we sell through the Juice Plus community costs more than a cup of Starbucks per day. And that was a habit that I actually kicked. So for $2.38 a day, you can get your family on the trio and sponsor a free child as well. For the shakes, it's, when I go to my fitness club, it costs about $8 to $9 to get a smoothie there. Thank goodness I make them at home for $2. And our omegas, the final component to artillery, is about $1.10 per day. So my question to you is, what is your health worth to you and your family? What are your options? What have you done so far, and has it worked? Have you tried the power of whole food nutrition? And if not, is this your season of life to kick the tires and begin a journey that is promised to do what it says it's going to do? Thank you guys so much for your time and your attention. I'm going to open it up to any questions. I know Candace is here. I know Robin is here. I know Bobbi Joe is here. If any of you have any questions, let's chat about it. If not, no worries. I know that the people that love you, that invited you here, are going to be following up with you intentionally, because that's what we do. Thank you guys so much. Any questions?
Jamie, I do have a question for you. I've been getting a couple of messages from the people that weren't able to make it. Yep. And one question was, can you buy individual products, or does you have to buy the whole thing all at once?
When you mean the whole thing, are you talking about, like, let's take the capsules, for example. Are you talking?
Well, because one of the people that messaged me was saying, well, I get my kids to eat fruit. They eat fruit all the time. They just don't eat vegetables.
Okay.
So, like, I don't know how it works. Like,